And you very quickly forget the good things that people say. But the bad things they say seem to stay with you forever. So when I first started, I was so sort of, I suppose, sensitive to what critics said. And then I suddenly realized, you know, that my films are shown in, like, let's say, 50 countries. In 50 countries, there's at least 20 film critics. That's a lot of people to see like your film, and a lot of people to not like your film. And I think as I got older, I suddenly realized it's not so important. Because in the end, what's important is, am I proud of the film? Have I said what I wanted to say? And if someone agrees with you, then that's good. If they don't, then I'm still proud of it artistically. And when I first started, I didn't have that kind of maturity, because it's too hard to make a film. It's so hard. And it takes you a year of your life, sometimes 2 years of your life, sometimes longer. And a film critic is sitting in a very warm cinema and takes 2 hours to make a judgment on what is 2 years of your work. So you have every right to be rather sensitive to that process. But I think that there's a line in fame which I put in because of exactly what you said, which is that no true artist should be afraid of what other people say about their work, because a custard pie comes with the job, in which is anybody who expresses themselves creatively in any form is bound to get some criticism. No artist in history got away scot-free, you know?
But it must be pretty awful if you make a film as you wanted to make it, and it doesn't work at the box office. You haven't had too many of those, but you have had some. And that must be very disappointing when you realize that the public hasn't been drawn to the film for some reason or another. Sometimes not very connected to the film itself.
Well, it's true, but there are a lot of good films, very, very good films, that didn't succeed commercially. And often it's because they didn't get the chance to succeed. Let's face it, you can get a very successful bad American film that has so much money in advertising and promotion that people go to see it. So, and often minority films, difficult films, political films don't have that kind of support. So you rely very much on the audience finding them. I think it's these days with the speed of the internet, if anything is any good, people will find it. And there are now more opportunities and ways to see a film than just turning up in a cinema to watch it, you know. So I think that that's changed cinema a lot. But is it disappointing when people don't like your work? Of course. Because although I've got to satisfy myself as creatively as an artist, is that it is film. And film only exists, it doesn't exist in a can. It only exists when an audience sees it on a screen, of whatever that screen might be. And then it exists. That's its creative life. And therefore the judgment of people looking at your film, liking it or not liking it, is hugely important. And I think that it's interesting because when you're working on a film, you see it in the process of editing hundreds and hundreds of times, and you've seen it finish sometimes, lots of different times, different kinds of screenings you have. But when you see it with an audience, for the very first time with an audience, it's almost like the first time you ever see the film. Because if there's a scene that's a little bit slow, if you're experiencing it with an audience, it will be very slow. Something you thought was funny has no laughter, therefore it's not funny. And so the audience's judgment is pretty crucial, really. And to ignore the audience, I think, is very foolish.